Hey guys, and welcome to Jay's Nest. Today we're going to do a little unboxing of some seeds. I got these from Baker Creek. Well, I ordered from Baker Creek. There's a website called reusablesandmore.com, and they did this little co-op buy with Baker Creek, and so they got like the wholesale price. And so we got a discounted price, which I think was about 30% off their retail price. And I could also pay with Sezzle, which is like a layaway program where they split your total price into 4 different payments. I couldn't resist. You know, I'm a collector of seeds. I really hope to be an old lady one day with just tons of varieties of seeds collected and saved. But I got some seeds from Baker Creek and I want to share it with you guys today. I don't really talk too much about gardening here on my channel, but I really hope to this year.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So I don't necessarily have great advice for you on how to garden. I don't know how to garden, really. It's bad. But I have this like blind love for it, like literally blind, because I don't know what I'm doing. But I love it. It brings me so much joy and love, and I feel passionate and I want to share my journey with you guys. Hopefully in a few years from now I can kind of help teach you guys or show you what has worked for me. So today I'm just going to show you my haul to add into my excessive collection. I have all of my regular seeds in here, which is just a lot of seeds. So the first packet I have right here is the Black Beauty tomato. Now this will definitely have space in my garden this year. I have thousands of seeds. There's no way every single pack of seed that I have is going to make it into my garden. However, this definitely will. This was the first tomato that I ever grew. Last year was my first time ever growing a tomato, ever eating a homegrown tomato, and the Black Beauty tomato just rocked my freaking world. This will be my first homegrown fresh tomato eaten from home. I'm hoping I like it. I don't know if I should just bite into it like an apple. That doesn't sound very appealing to me. So I'm gonna cut a little bit off. Ooh, look at that. That is one nice looking tomato. It smells good. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Ooh, this is actually pretty good. Flesh of this tastes like a fruit. I'm sorry this music is loud. I came into this situation last year where my toddler, she accidentally knocked over one of my seed starting trays, and about half the seeds fell out of the seed starting tray. And they were my tomato plants. I had a bunch of different varieties of tomatoes that I wanted to grow last year. And unfortunately, since it was knocked over, I didn't have the chance. And I did save a few tiny, tiny little seedlings, and they actually grew into big plants. One of them was a Black Beauty tomato, and the other 2 were Sun Gold cherry tomatoes. Now, they were mystery plants when I put them in the ground. Since the seed starting tray was knocked over, and I gathered up the little seedlings on the ground, I didn't know what they were because they fell out of their labeling. They fell out of their little cell. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to get last year, and I ended up with a Black Beauty, which I was really looking forward to last year, and I was so excited that this seedling survived. I would say it's a pretty sturdy plant. It didn't produce a lot. We ended up putting it in the ground in like late June, early July, which is really, really late. And these did produce until frost, which was about mid-October for us. I live in zone 6B. But this tomato, not only was it beautiful, it was delicious. Mine tasted like a fruit. It tasted kind of like an apple and a pear. It was really meaty on the inside, just very delicious. This will always have a space in my garden. Not only just because of the flavor, but also just because it was my first love when we're talking about homegrown tomatoes. It wasn't very productive. The fruits were a bit on the smaller side. We didn't get a lot of, I think we got maybe 4 tomatoes out, but we also put it in late, so. The next one that I got is the Berkeley Tie Die Pink, or the Pink Berkeley Tie Die. I actually think this is one of the parent plants of the Black Beauty tomato, and I can definitely see a lot of resemblance in the way that this is. I heard this is really good, and I definitely want to give it a try. I don't know if it'll make it into my garden this year. I really hope so. Couldn't resist. This is a beautiful tomato. It has striping on it. And to me, I just think that's beautiful. All the different colors and variations in plants, to me, is just so beautiful. If you would have asked me in 2016 if I thought this plant was beautiful, I thought it would have been disgusting and gross, because this is not necessarily what we think of when we think of tomatoes. We think of just something with perfect smooth skin and something that's red and shiny and round. A lot of times homegrown things are just really ugly, they're cracked, wonky shaped, but the flavor is just so worth it. Because the thing with industrial agriculture is those things are grown like tomatoes that you see in store, they're grown because they produce well and they ship well. They're usually picked off the vines when they're green and they ripen on the way to wherever they need to go to their destination. And so you lose out on so much flavor, and they're not bred for flavor. And so that's why growing things from home is so important, because you get to experience just a different world of food, a different paradigm. Like this Black Beauty tomato, that tasted like a fruit to me. I would eat that like a fruit. Me and my children were just biting into it because it just tasted like a fruit. It didn't taste like a tomato to me. The next on my list is this blueberries tomato. I've heard really good things about this. This year I'm making space for hopefully about 15 different varieties of cherry tomatoes. I really want to find a cherry tomato that I like, and I also love sun-dried cherry tomatoes. I realized that really late in the season, about September, I realized that I really love sun-dried cherry tomatoes. That's really how I enjoy eating them. I've heard good things about blueberries, so we'll give it a try. This one is really beautiful to me because it has these purple shoulders. So wherever the sun touches it, it turns this purplish color, kind of blackish almost. And where the sun doesn't touch it, it's just like a regular red tomato. To me, that is so beautiful. I think the purple in I'm obsessed with purple. You'll notice a lot of things that I have this year are going to be purple. Purple tomatoes, purple peppers, purple green beans. I love purple things. So I'm excited to try that. One thing that has really fascinated me is these dwarf varieties of tomatoes. Baker Creek has one called the Orange Hat Tomato. This is supposed to get like 7 or 8 inches tall. It's like a micro dwarf. 6 to 9 inches tall. Just really tiny. Look how tiny this is. Super duper tiny. I assume that it doesn't produce a lot of fruits. I haven't really looked into that, but I wanted something that was really small that maybe my children can help me tend towards, and they're just freaking cute. We don't necessarily have a lot of space in my garden, so I thought it would be fun to get some dwarf varieties. I ordered some dwarf varieties from Renaissance Farms. They're actually local to me. However, their packaging isn't pretty like this, so showing you a clear little baggie with seeds isn't as fun. But I did get some dwarf varieties from them, and they're here today. Really, really excited to try some dwarf varieties. The next thing that I have is this Berry's Crazy Cherry Tomato. I've heard really good things about this. I really enjoy yellow tomatoes. I like the mildness. It's not punchy, it's not loud, it's not too much in your mouth. It's just kind of a subtle, mild flavor. And I love sun-dried yellow tomatoes. To me, they're just so perfect. Not too overpowering. Really good. The bunches on these are nuts. I mean, look how many tomatoes are just in that cluster. That is crazy. I guess that's why it's called Berry's Crazy Cherry, because the production is crazy. Some people say they can get a few hundred, like 600 to 1,000 cherry tomatoes off of one plant. Like, to me, that is nuts. So I'm excited to try that. I've heard good things about it. I've heard bad things about it too. Some people said it was just too bland. I enjoy the blandness of the yellow and the orangish tomatoes. They're a little more mild in flavor and usually a little sweet. I definitely want to make space for this. Next we have peppers. I haven't really been into sweet peppers per se. I don't even think I've had a bell pepper, but I want to try some sweet peppers this year. The first pepper that I have is this Corbaci pepper. I've heard really good things about this, that it's good when you stir fry it with some other vegetables. So I'm definitely going to try to make some room for this year. Like I said, not everything that I have is going to make it into my garden this year. I really wish it could. The next pepper that I have is this Sugar Rush Peach. The color of this is really, really pretty. It's like an orangish, yellowish type of color. I heard that this is actually fruity, but it has a kick of hotness to it. So that is very intriguing to me. When I think of peppers, I just think of like store-bought peppers. I think of maybe something that is salty or something that tastes earthy, like grass, with a kick of hotness to it. The fact that something can be fruity with that hot temperature, that just sounds fascinating to me. So I really want to try this. I really want to make space for this year. But we'll see. I'll definitely make more videos once I get to seed starting everything and what actually makes it into the garden this year, because I wish I could plant everything, but I have way too many seeds. The next pepper that I have is the red Marconi. I heard that this is really good if you dry it and make it into a powder. So that sounds fascinating to me. I think this is a sweet pepper. Yeah, and it says it's sweet and it's great fried or fresh. I haven't really tried too many sweet peppers. This one I'm really excited about. It's called the Buena Mulata pepper. It is supposed to be really hot, and it's purple. And anything that grows in purple, I want to try it. purple tomatoes, purple peppers, purple beans. I want to grow the purple things. So this fascinates me. I've watched a few reviews on YouTube about it. People say this is actually pretty hot pepper. I'm not really into things that are too hot. Like, I enjoy jalapenos, but anything hotter than that, I don't know. Supposedly this is supposed to be hotter than a jalapeno, but if I pick it when it's a little younger, it's not as spicy. I don't know. We'll see. And the next pepper that I have is this Craig's Grande pepper. It's just a jalapeno pepper, but it's much bigger. I heard that this is really good for stuffing, and I love stuffed jalapenos, like little jalapeno poppers and stuff like that. So I thought this would be good. I really wanted to try the Jalapeno, which is just a jalapeno without the spice. That sounds really fascinating, but they were out of the Jalapeno. So I'll have to keep my eye out for the Jalapeno pepper. Next, I'm going to move to kale. I thought I had kale, but I don't even have kale in my seed stash, which is disappointing. Right now is a good time for me to be growing kale, so that's what I will be doing. And these are the varieties that I got. I got Thousandhead Kale, which is like a huge, massive kale. Kale really enjoys cold temperatures, so spring and also fall are great times to grow this. You can even grow kale in the wintertime as long as it has a little bit of cover. Though I did see on a few channels, like You Can't Eat the Grass, they had kale uncovered and it was still producing. So I mean, it kind of just depends on what zone you're in and how cold it gets and if the snow comes or if it gets a hard frost. This one really intrigued me. It's called Dazzling Blue Kale. So it has different shades of blue and also purple. And you know, if something has purple in it, I want to grow it. To me, this is probably one of the most beautiful kales that I have seen so far. And then the last kale that I have is called Scarlett Kale. My daughter Scarlett is really interested in growing. Right now she's 3. And so we've been getting varieties of things called Scarlett. We have like Scarlet Runner Beans and Scarlet Kale. So that's really intrigued her into gardening. And this is a really, really beautiful kale as well. It looks kind of like it's purpley and has these little ruffled edges, so I'm excited to try this. The next little leafy green that I have is arugula. Arugula is a bit spicy and peppery in flavor, but it makes a great addition to salads. So I really, really wanted to grow this year to find just maybe a little space in my cabbage patch or in my lettuce patch to grow some of this. Next is cauliflower. This is Jesi. It has a sticker saying it's overpacked due to low germination. They tried germination on 9/19 and the germination was 48%, so it's not great, but this is a beautiful cauliflower. I'm gonna give it a try. Hopefully I can get at least one from it. It looks like fractals. It looks like the Fibonacci code, which is very fascinating to me. That kind of stuff is very, very fascinating to me. I have another one that is green like this that also has that same spiral pattern. It's broccoli. The fact that plants can turn into fractals is very fascinating to me, and specifically the Fibonacci code. Like, what are the chances? Nature is just beautiful. The next thing that I have on my list I'm really excited for, I thought I already had the seeds for it, but I guess not. It's the Kajari Melon. I heard a lot about this melon from Roots and Refuge. It's just this little small melon, but she said it's really good and it looks delicious. It looks juicy. I'm gonna try to trellis this year. I'm gonna try to plant a few plants. I really, really, really love melons. I love watermelons, but I've had horrible success trying to grow watermelons. The past 3 years I've tried growing watermelons and I have not been successful. The first 2 years I thought that you could just put a seed in the dirt, water it every single day, and then a plant would grow. I didn't really understand the relationship plants have with soil and sunlight and water, and they need different things. And watermelons are a very finicky plant. She is a sassy girl. Watermelon is very, very, very sassy. So I think trying just a melon outside of watermelon this year will definitely have me a little more encouraged to grow watermelons, or to just grow melons in general. I will be growing more watermelons this year, and hopefully we get some watermelons this year because your girl loves watermelons. I pretty much eat my weight in watermelons, and that's a lot of watermelons. Alright, next we're going to move on to the flowers. I got a few different varieties of zinnias. I heard zinnias are really, really easy to grow, and I'm all for a plant that grows easily. Zinnias are cut and come again flowers. So the plant will grow, multiple blooms will come off, you cut those flowers off, and a new one will grow in its place. To me, that's fascinating. I gotta see it to believe it. I don't know, that just sounds really cool to me. So the first zinnia that I have is the Queen Lime Red. I heard really good things about the Queen Lime series in general, so I did get a few from the Queen Lime series. This red one looks beautiful. It comes in a bunch of different shades. So a lot of the flowers look different from each other. And they kind of have this ombre effect where it goes from this lime color, sometimes it fades into pink, sometimes it fades into like a deep burgundy red. It's a gorgeous flower. The next one that I have from the Queen Lime series is the Queen Lime Orange. The same concept as the red, but instead of it fading into red, it fades into orange. Very, very beautiful. You get a lot of different varieties, a lot of different shades of colors, which I think is really cool. So you're not just expecting one uniform color. Everything is just a little different from each other. The next zinnia that I have is the Purple Prince, and this one looked to be a little big. I'm not sure how it compares to these other ones, how huge it is, but I love the color purple. And then the last zinnia that I have is this Illumination Zinnia, which looks like to just be a pink zinnia. Some parts look like it's dark pink and other parts look like it's light pink. I think it would be really nice to see little pops of pink in the garden. And then the very last thing that I got is the Heliopsis Sunburst. So it kind of looks like a daisy or a sunflower, but the leaves on this are variegated. And to me that is just so beautiful. It's variegated with white and there's a bunch of different stripes and webbing. Just all the different veining on it. It's just really cool to me. I have some house plants that are variegated with those white patches and I just think that's so beautiful. I don't know if I'll grow this year, but I saw it and I had to have it. It's a really long video, so if you made it to the end, you must really love seeds. I'm really excited to share my gardening journey with you this year. I wish I would have shared more of it last year. I did share a lot in my Instagram stories, but those go away within 24 hours. Maybe I'll put together a video about the things that grew well for me last year and the things that didn't grow well for me as a beginner gardener. There were some things that were so easy to grow, like for me sunflowers were very easy to grow, and that was probably my favorite part of my garden last year. Green beans were also very easy to grow last year as well. And then cherry tomatoes, I found those to be pretty easy. There were lots of bugs, lots of pests, lots of things that I wasn't necessarily prepared for, but I feel like the process of gardening in itself is something that you learn from. You can do so much research. I did months and months and months worth of research, hours and hours every day, submerged, taking notes, learning everything I needed to do. And then when the time came to actually grow the food and the flowers, I feel like all of that went out the window, and it was just more about being in the experience instead of taking in, you know, all the knowledge that I learned. This year I hope to mix the knowledge with the experience that I had last year and produce something a little better than last year, because there's a lot of things that died last year or that failed. But I feel like that's part of gardening, no matter who you are, no matter how long you've gardened. Some years are just tough years. Like this year for 2020, I suspect that it's going to be a really tough year with pests, because this winter hasn't been bad at all. We've barely had any snow. We've had more rain than snow, which is really bad. A lot of the pests and bugs that usually die with the winter are not dead right now. Like, there are bugs everywhere. We live out in the country and there are bugs everywhere. And so unfortunately I think it's going to be really hot, probably really rainy, gonna be lots of pests, so there's gonna be lots of diseases, lots of bugs. So it's gonna be a tough year this year. But I'm ready for it. I'm ready to learn and to hopefully take you guys along with me. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. I will link their website down below. Definitely not an affiliate or anything like that, but it's a really good website. They have a lot of rare seeds, a lot of beautiful varieties, a lot of heirlooms. I would definitely suggest checking them out. They have free shipping and they also give in free seeds with their orders. But alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.